Cormega made a post. Shout out to Cormega. He made a post. He was pretty much defending Diddy. We talked about Diddy last week, and I'm going to read just the first couple sentences of what he said. He said, "The truth is a ray of light. We are when we are clouded with judgment. So let me shine some light on the speculation." Diddy did a Bad Boy reunion tour. Rob was included. Diddy looked out for him recently. Diddy is handling the funeral arrangements. If you can't match what he's done, you should not blame a man for someone's death. Rob was my guy. I proudly worked with him when he was no longer in the spotlight. I think it would be better served if people reserve their words for condolences to the family and the positive moments instead of vice of speculation that stops us unifying and growing as a culture. So I saw Mega come out. Choke No Joke as well. He used to work with Rockefeller. He came out into to Diddy's defense, and I'm starting to see a lot more people come out, more than I thought. And again, we're just fans, so we don't work in the industry. We weren't around when things were happening, but I'm starting to see more people come to his defense. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because seeing that is the total opposite of what we discussed last week on our show. But
That's
Jay
a
Diff, I'll
different
come
topic,
to you.
though.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's fair, but it's still different context. But what do you think about this, man? Because I think there's a lot of people that are starting to shed some positive light on him. After Rob passed and everything that's going on right now.
Well, like I was saying, that's a different context. You can't put somebody else's life choices on another man.
Right.
It's their career. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever he did with Bad Boy and whatever contracts and whatever things he signed as far as that's concerned, no bearing on that man's health. And you can't blame somebody else for that. That's the same thing we were talking about with DMX.
Right.
And holding others accountable for his choices. You can't, that's not how life goes. As a man, you stand on your own 2 feet, you make your own decisions.
Right.
You can't have a support team. And I'm pretty sure both of them had support teams. Nobody can say that they didn't, or you got to show the proof. As far as Diddy is concerned with Black Rob, that never crossed my mind as far as that being his fault that he's laid up in the hospital bed, fighting for his life and praying for DMX at the same time.
Right.
It's just apples and oranges.
Yeah, I saw, there were a handful of tweets that I saw. People are gonna tweet anything, especially in this era, where people were like, "Man, I wish he would have done this, or I wish he would have done that." Like, it's crazy that that's still happening, but it was kind of dope to see, like people like Mega, Hogan, people like that. I was surprised at a lot of people that were standing up for him. Jay Moore, jump in there, man. What'd you think about what Cormega said, or was that even necessary to say?
Well, no, to an extent, I think it's necessary because, people always say about what somebody else isn't doing, but, what are you doing? Did you, when Black Rob put out an album in 2015, did you buy it or stream it? Did you go, if he was coming to your town, did you go to his show and support him? People always have something to say, especially when it's somebody like Diddy or Jay or Russell Simmons or whoever, because they just feel like these people have all this and they should have done more. But look, his name is Puff Daddy, but he's not your daddy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is under no obligation to take care of grown men who used to work for him. Like, I've for different corporations, and if I get sick, I'm not going to be like, yo, when you're going to come through with some flowers or a check or whatever. Because I just understand, man, that's what it is. I understand that we have a different, kind of relationship when these people are artists or people that have created a certain piece of art that we enjoy and we feel like they should be duly compensated for said piece of art. And they should be, but, at the same time, if you're an artist and you want to be a rapper, and you don't want to get a regular job, you got to get out here and make that art one way or another. Like I've seen, certain artists who, even if it's on a lower scale, when they're not on a major label anymore, they still get out here and create something for the people who are their fans. I mean, the Lox had put out an album last year, 112 and Faith, they still make music from time to time. If you stop making music, even if I'm a fan of yours, I can't support you. And, there are rappers out here who've been honest about the fact they had to get real jobs. I remember rapper Big Pooh talked about, I was driving Uber,
Sure.
Because that's what it is. The music industry does not love you, and so until you can figure it out on an artistic level and get some more art out there, and maybe tour, do some shows, like as a man, if you got a family or kids, even if you don't have family or kids, you got to find a way to make it happen one way or another, but I guess, I said all that to say, like, I don't blame Diddy for any of this, but, it is a tragedy, only 51 and, me turning 44, to see X go at 50, it just impresses upon you. I know you don't, a lot of us, especially Black men, we don't like going to the doctor. We don't like taking pills. We don't like needles. But, if you want to be here for your family and your friends or whatever, you got to go ahead and do it. So I would just impress that upon anybody who's listening.
Got you. I can respect it. On shout out to the chat, Long. Is there anything else that you have to add? Any 2 cents that you can add to anything that anybody else has said? Or
it was interesting to see Cormega come out and see some defense for Diddy. I guess you don't really see a lot of that in general.
That's from Cormega.
I guess in general, I kind of agree with you guys. It's kind of along the same line of what we talked about before. Like we can't blame Diddy for Rob's health, really, and we can't blame Diddy for what another man does. You know what I mean? I think the argument could be brought up, based upon like how all of his artists are doing today. It's just interesting that like none of his artists are relevant, and or like some of them haven't even heard of them in like 15 years. Is that just an anomaly? Is that just a thing of the era, or is there something else there? Again, it goes back to the argument that I would say is, the dealings of the late 90s, early 2000s, and kind of some of the predatory deals that artists were a part of, and, they signed them, and, if they fell off, they fell off, and then that was it, but I don't think you can blame Diddy for anything dealing with Black Rob's health and, and wanting him to particularly do more or anything like that. It's just a shame, I guess. If you've enjoyed this segment of the New Old Heads podcast, make sure to join our live show every Tuesday from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/newoldheads. And we invite you to join our hip hop community on Discord. Access it by going to newoldheads.com/community for talks on hip hop, sports, music, news, and everything else.